Welcome to Man at the Tap, a podcast of Tapestry Ministries. Each episode reflects on a daily Bible reading from the Revised Common Lectionary. I'm Gloria, a fellow traveler on a spiritual journey with the Tapestry community, and we refer to the daily Bible reading as our spiritual manna. It nourishes our souls, fostering spiritual growth as we share insights and interpretations that enrich our spiritual lives. Today is Tuesday, February the 3rd, 2026, in the fourth week after Epiphany. The lectionary reading is from the book of Ruth, which tells the story of a family that left their home in Bethlehem, known as the House of Bread, and journeyed across the river and desert to Moab because of a famine in their land. Disaster struck the family when the father died in Moab. The two sons who grew up there married Moabite women, but also died, leaving Naomi, the mother, alone and bereft of her family. All that was left were her two daughters-in-law. When Naomi learned that the Lord had provided food for his people in Bethlehem, she decided to go back there. As she and her two daughters-in-law headed for Bethlehem, Naomi told them to return to their own mothers' homes, asking the Lord to show them kindness just as they had shown her. One daughter-in-law obeyed Naomi, crying loudly and kissing her farewell. Meanwhile, Ruth, the other daughter-in-law, clung to Naomi, promising to stay with Naomi's people and Naomi's God. When Naomi saw that Ruth was determined to go with her, she stopped urging her to return to her mother's house. The two women then set out together, walking in silence until they reached Bethlehem as the barley harvest was beginning. The lectionary reading is Ruth chapter 2, verses 1 to 17. Naomi agreed with Ruth that it was time for her to go to the field and gather leftover grain so they could have food. Ruth entered a field and began to glean behind the harvesters. And it so happened that she was in the field of a man named Boaz, a pillar of the community, who was related to Naomi's deceased husband. Boaz asked the supervisor of his harvesters about the young woman in the field, and the supervisor told Boaz that she was the Moabite who had returned with Naomi. Boaz then approached Ruth, commending her for her kindness to Naomi, her mother-in-law. He then offered a blessing, asking the Lord to greatly reward her for her kindness. He then shared his lunch with her, and she set some of it aside for Naomi. After lunch, he told his workers to gather grain from the barley that had already been cut and bound so Ruth could collect it. By the end of the day, Ruth had gleaned about 20 to 30 pounds of grain. The Lord had truly rewarded her for her kindness.